I'm gonna be real with you. There's a conversation most couples never, ever have, and it's creating this silent gap in relationships that kills real intimacy. You're walking around completely blind to what might actually be going on. Did you know that study after study shows a crazy high number, like well over 60% of women, with some research saying it's as high as 2/3, admit to faking an orgasm? That's a massive number of women. Now here's the part that should really get your attention. One of the biggest reasons they do it is to protect their partner's ego, to make you feel good, which means you could be in a situation where you think everything is amazing. You think you're connecting on this insane level, but the reality is, you're missing the truth without even realizing it. If you've ever had that little gut feeling that maybe, just maybe, something was a little off, you need to watch this. In this video, we're going to literally pull back the curtain on this incredibly common but almost never discussed topic. First, we'll get into the hidden psychological reasons why she does it. And then, I'm going to give you 7 subtle, specific signs that you're probably missing so you can finally know what's really going on. Stay with me, because understanding this is the first step to building the kind of genuine, mind-blowing intimacy you both actually deserve. All right, let's get right into it. Why does this happen so often? It's easy to jump to conclusions and think it's a sign she doesn't care, but the psychology behind it is way more complex. And honestly, it often comes from a place you wouldn't expect. Most of the time, faking isn't about trying to trick you in a malicious way. It's a coping mechanism. Researchers have figured out a few core reasons, and we're going to break down the top 5. Reason number 1, she's trying to protect your feelings. This is by far one of the biggest drivers. From a young age, a lot of women are conditioned to be the nurturers, to put the emotional well-being of others first. In the bedroom, this translates into this insane pressure to make sure her partner feels successful, adequate, like the man. There's this crazy cultural myth that a man's value in bed is measured by his ability to make a woman finish. She knows this. She feels this. So, if she's not getting there, she might see your potential disappointment or your bruised ego as a much worse outcome than her just not having an orgasm. Think about it. In her mind, she's not just faking it. She's trying to perform an act of kindness, as misguided as it might be, to protect you from feeling rejected or like you failed. It's a lie, yeah, but one she tells herself is to keep the peace and protect your confidence. Reason number 2, she just wants the encounter to end. Let's be honest, not every single time is going to be mind-blowing. Sometimes, for a million different reasons, it's just not happening. Maybe she's tired, distracted, maybe the connection just isn't there that night. But trying to stop things midway can feel incredibly awkward and confrontational. How does she say, "Hey, I'm not really into this right now and I'd like to stop," without it sounding like a personal rejection of you? For a lot of women, the path of least resistance is to fake it. It provides a clear, clean endpoint to the whole thing without having to get into a difficult conversation that could hurt your feelings. It's a quick exit strategy. The problem is, this creates a dangerous feedback loop. You think you just did something that worked like a charm, when in reality, it was the exact opposite. You're probably going to do the same thing next time, thinking you're on the right track, while she's just silently hoping it'll be over soon. Reason number 3, she's insecure and afraid. This one is all about her own internal world. The pressure to orgasm isn't just external, it's deeply internal. Pop culture and porn have created this completely unrealistic script where women are supposed to climax easily and intensely every single time. When her reality doesn't match that fantasy, it can trigger these insane feelings of inadequacy, shame, or like she's broken. She might be thinking, "What's wrong with me? Why isn't this happening?" So faking it becomes a way to dodge those awful feelings. It's a performance of normalcy to prove to you and to herself that she's a normal sexual person. By acting out the expected result, she avoids the internal anxiety and self-judgment. It's a defense mechanism, plain and simple. Reason number 4, she doesn't know how to communicate. This is a huge one. Most of us are never taught how to actually talk about sex. It's taboo, and that silence follows us right into the bedroom. When a woman doesn't know how to say what she wants, or feels like it isn't safe to, faking it can feel like the only choice she has. It's easier to pretend than to risk the vulnerability of saying, "Could you try this?" Or, "A little softer, please." She might genuinely want to have an amazing time, but she just doesn't have the tools or the confidence to steer you toward what actually feels good for her. The faking just becomes a symptom of a much bigger communication gap that's probably showing up in other parts of the relationship too. Reason number 5, she's trying to increase her own arousal. Now, this one might sound a little wild, but it's a real psychological thing. Some women report that the act of pretending to be aroused, the breathing, the sounds, the movements, can sometimes actually help them get there for real. It's a classic case of fake it till you make it. The idea is that our behaviors can actually influence our feelings. By acting out the physical signs of arousal, she might be trying to jumpstart her own body's response, hoping the performance will trigger something genuine. It's an attempt to get her mind and body on the same page by leading with the body first. But while research suggests this can sometimes work, more often than not, it just adds another layer of pressure and pulls her even further out of the moment, making her focus on the performance instead of the actual feeling. So, as you can see, the reasons are complex, and it's rarely about trying to hurt you. But knowing why is only half the battle. Now you need to know how to tell if it's happening. Before we dive into these signs, here's a crucial disclaimer. Not a single one of these is 100% definitive proof. Every person's body is different. The key is to look for patterns and inconsistencies, a disconnect between what you're hearing and what you're seeing and feeling. The body rarely lies if you pay close attention. Sign number 1, the breathing doesn't match the sounds. This is one of the most immediate giveaways. A genuine orgasm is an involuntary, full-body event, and it completely hijacks your breathing. Breathing gets deeper, faster, and more erratic as things build up. But if she's making loud theatrical moans while her breathing stays pretty shallow or steady, that's a major red flag. It's incredibly hard to consciously control your breathing to match a fake vocal performance. Listen for the breath behind the sounds. Is it deep, coming from her core? Or does it sound like she's just making noise while breathing normally? That disconnect is where the truth is. Sign number 2. The climax is too quick or way too convenient. A real orgasm has a build-up. There's a curve, an increase in intensity, a point of no return. It doesn't just show up out of nowhere. If her orgasm seems to happen suspiciously fast, without that noticeable build-up phase, or if it always happens at the exact moment you seem to be finishing or getting tired, you should be skeptical. This is often a sign of that exit strategy we talked about. She's using it as a neat and tidy cue to end the session. A real climax is messy and unpredictable. A performance is often perfectly on cue. Sign number 3. Her body stays tense or totally still. During a real orgasm, the body goes through a series of involuntary muscle contractions, followed by this deep sense of release. You might feel her pelvic muscles pulsing, see her toes curl, her back arch, or her hands grip you tight. Afterwards, her body will probably feel heavy, almost limp. If instead, her body stays rigid and tense the whole time, or on the flip side, is completely still like a log, it's a strong sign the experience is happening in her voice, not her body. An orgasm is a physical convulsion, not just a sound effect. If you don't feel any of that physical evidence, you have to question what's really going on. Sign number 4. She immediately wants to change the subject or clean up. The moments right after a real orgasm are usually filled with this lingering sensitivity, a state of dreamy, relaxed connection. The absolute last thing on her mind is jumping up to grab a towel or asking what you want for breakfast. If, the second her orgasm is over, she's quick to pull away, get up, or shift to a totally non-sexual topic, it can be a sign she was mentally done and just waiting for the scene to end. That immediate pivot out of the intimate space suggests she wasn't truly in it to begin with. By the way, if you're finding this breakdown helpful and you want more insights into female psychology and building that insane attraction, make sure you smash that subscribe button and hit the notification bell. We go deep on these topics every week, and you don't want to miss what's coming next. Sign number 5. Her eyes are wide open or she avoids looking at you. This one is a real giveaway, so don't miss it. During a moment of intense, involuntary pleasure, most people's eyes will close. It's a natural reflex to focus inward on the sensation. Some people's eyes might even roll back. But if her eyes are wide open, and even worse, if they seem to be watching you, like she's checking to see if you're buying it, that's a telltale sign of a performance. She's in her head, acting and observing, not in her body, feeling. Alternatively, if she completely avoids your gaze right after, it could be a subconscious signal of guilt or discomfort from the lie. Sign number 6. There are no other physical reactions. An orgasm triggers a whole cascade of other physical responses. Her heart rate skyrockets, and many women experience a sex flush, a reddening of the chest, neck, and face from increased blood flow. Her pupils might dilate. After the peak, you'll notice a slow, gradual return to normal. If you see none of these secondary signs, no flush, no pupil change, no lingering sensitivity on her skin, it's another piece of evidence suggesting the event was simulated. Sign number 7. She's more focused on your reaction than her own experience. This is the ultimate behavioral sign. Is she an active participant, or is she a passive performer? A woman who is genuinely lost in her own pleasure will often instinctively guide you. She'll move your hand, adjust her hips, or whisper things like, "Don't stop," or "faster." She is actively chasing her own pleasure. A woman who is faking is often completely passive. She doesn't give you any feedback because she's not invested in the outcome. She's just waiting for the scene to be over. She's more concerned with how you are reacting to her performance than she is with her own actual sensations. If it feels like you're getting a show instead of sharing an experience, you probably are. Okay, so you recognize some of these signs. What now? The absolute worst thing you can do is angrily confront her with, "Were you faking it?" That will only trigger more shame and defensiveness and make things 1,000 times worse. The goal isn't to catch her in a lie. The goal is to create an environment where she never feels the need to lie again. This is about shifting from a performance-based mindset to a pleasure-based one. Here are 3 actionable steps. 1. Open up communication, but without any blame. You have to create a safe space to talk about this, and this conversation needs to happen outside of the bedroom, when you're both relaxed and not under any pressure. Use I statements. Instead of, "I think you're faking it," try something like, "I've been thinking about our connection, and I want to make sure our time together feels amazing for you. Your pleasure is incredibly important to me." You can even be vulnerable yourself and say, "Sometimes I worry if I'm really meeting your needs, and I just want you to know you can tell me anything." This opens the door for honesty without making it an accusation. 2. Focus on her pleasure and ask for feedback. Make it crystal clear that her orgasm is not the goal. The goal is mutual pleasure and connection. Shift the focus from the finish line to the entire journey. During intimacy, pay close attention to her real signals, that subtle gasp, a shift in her hips, a change in her breathing. When you notice something that seems to be working, say it out loud. "Did that feel good?" Or, "You seem to really like it when I do this." This does 2 things. It proves you're actually paying attention, and it gives her permission to say yes to what she likes, which builds her confidence to guide you more. 3. Redefine what success means in the bedroom. As long as the only definition of successful sex is intercourse that ends with her orgasm, the pressure will always be there. You have to broaden your definition. Celebrate all forms of intimacy. Spend more time on foreplay with zero expectation of where it's supposed to lead. Introduce the idea that pleasure, connection, and just exploring are the goals, and an orgasm is just a wonderful bonus if it happens. When you take the pressure of the performance away, you give her the freedom to actually feel. When she knows her pleasure is genuinely your priority, not just a box to be checked for your ego, she'll feel safe enough to be honest. And that honesty is the foundation for the real, earth-shattering intimacy you've both been missing out on. Ultimately, this whole thing isn't a sign of a broken partner or a failed relationship. It's a symptom of a communication problem. It's born from pressure, insecurity, and a lack of honest conversation. But it's a problem you can absolutely solve. By understanding the why and learning to spot the subtle signs, you've already taken the first huge step. The next step is to lead with empathy and create a new dynamic. One built on trust, open communication, and a shared mission for genuine pleasure, not performance. That's where true, lasting attraction is forged. Now I want to hear from you. This is a sensitive topic, but an important one. Have you ever had a conversation like this in your relationship? How did it go? Share your experience respectfully in the comments below. Your story might literally help some other guy out there navigate this. And of course, if this video opened your eyes, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next deep dive. Thanks for watching.